Imbolc blessings, beloved sister. Welcome to the mystery teachings of this sacred portal of the year, this cross-quarter holiday that lies right between winter solstice and spring equinox on that wheel of the year. If we were to map the wheel of the year to a clock face, winter solstice would be midnight, summer solstice would be noon. So we are at 3 a.m. right now. We are still in the dark, and yet below the soil, the seeds are beginning to press. The shoots and the seeds are beginning to press, building strength, pressing against the seed that has resisted for so long the elements buried underneath the soil. And yet it is finally the seed that will emerge from within that will be victorious in breaking that shell, in breaking that limiting container. So now we are here at the energetic portal to spring. We are at the beginning of spring, and yet it is deep in the midst of winter. It is, in fact, these cross-quarter holidays, they are the dreaming of spring. They are the dreaming of the next season. They initiate, that is why they're called fire holidays. They initiate into the next season. As we find ourselves in Imbolc, we know that that word translates in Gaelic to use milk. The sheep were the first to get milk in the spring, and it was a sign the spring is coming. The first shoots of grass, the first crocuses arising upward, sometimes even through snow, sometimes too soon to where we will have many freezes from this point on, and yet the persistence of life moves through. The hope for spring, for rebirth, for restart occurs right now in the midst of the darkest of the dark. Ever since winter solstice, the days have grown little by little, brighter and brighter. And just as this would be 3 a.m. on a clock face, this is the crescent moon. This is in the birth of a child. The child was conceived at the solstice, and she is now being born. So this is the birthing. That is the energy that is occurring right now. As we move into spring, you will be deep into your inner child essence, deep into that follicular phase of your hormonal cycle, where it is just, boo, you're blooming, you're blossoming. It is like creative sparks moving. And right now, that newborn has just been birthed. And as we know, her eyes, a newborn's eyes, they don't open for a while. And once they do open, they can't focus for a while. This is the time we're in. We're still in the dreaming. And yet the potential, the possibility of what is to come is calling to us, beckoning towards us, stirring within. Can you feel the energetic stirring? Can you feel the bubbling up of fresh new life? And yet, go slow, sister. This is winter. This is not the time to rush. The Chinese had it correct, right? This is Chinese New Year. This would be the New Year in many different parts of the globe for our ancestors. And the energetics, as far as women are concerned, as Gaia is birthing her new year, getting ready to erupt those flowers from the earth, as she is in her own birthing process, we are asked to enter into deep relationship with the land, as we always are, to notice the subtle shifts in our own bodies and on the planet itself. Just as Gaia carries the divine feminine yin spark of the creative life force, the dance of Shakti, she is the divine feminine portal. She is the holder of the erotic life force of the earth that enlivens us, that weaves us together, that creates our body, that nourishes us with the fruits of her womb, with the milk of her breasts, that is the waters of the earth. Just as she is in her own birthing moment, we as women are invited to come back into the relevance of our own anatomy. So many of us have been in this process of reclaiming, like, what is my woman? What is my woman? Who is my woman? Who am I a woman as a woman? Because so many of us in the patriarchy have adapted to being, living in a man's world, getting shit done under a solar cycle, getting shit done in the way that a man's hormonal cycle works, which is consistent every single day. Whereas Gaia herself is always fluctuating, flowing, shifting, and changing seasonally with the moons, with the cycle of the sun itself. So as women, we are being asked always to return back to what is here that is true and real as our feminine essence. And a very basic part of that is the anatomy. It is the womb. So as women, whether or not we ever choose to birth with our womb, it is the portal of life. It is the container through which all of reality is born. All in the human realm is born through the body of a woman. This isn't to demean or take away from any other gender. We are all equally as important in this tapestry of life, this choreography of creation, and yet the reality is a woman's body is the fertile foundation. It is the cave, the cocoon, the soil in which life bursts forth. Therefore, the state of our own womb, our own relationship to our womb, our own embodied body, mind, heart state is what is birthing our reality in any moment. We know this from the great mysteries of motherhood that we're so alive to at summer. And yet, think about it, the energy of birthing is very different from the energy of mothering, right? Like, we can show up and we can parent our children on the day-to-day, but birthing takes a lot of energy. That is a very specific energy, and that is what's happening right now. So we are not only being asked, what is it that you desire to birth for your year? What is it that you desire to birth for the collective, for the well-being of all? But also, we are invited to come into deeper relationship with our womb and our yoni themselves. Of course, every season offers us different opportunities in this realm. But this moment of Imbolc, it offers an invitation into birthing. Like, as women, we birth. That's pretty freaking unique. Let's not skip over that one. That isn't random, right? We birth life through our body. So we are asked to be in this relationship with our own womb and this container from which the future is being born. And an acknowledgement that the future of the earth, the future of humanity is being born through us. And so when it comes to Imbolc, we are both the birther. Gaia is birthing her new year, right? Every year. And as women, we are birthing ourselves into our new year. We are also the child that we are birthing. We are birthing our next iteration of who we are, our next most expansive version. And for those of us on the priestess path, there is another element of birthing that is alive, well, sacred, and imperative to dive into during this portal, which is the midwife. So if you are walking the sacred path of the priestess, then you are not only the mother, the child, you are also the midwife who is birthing, coming into conscious relationship to your birthing, so that you are not only birthing yourself, you're not only birthing your future, you are birthing a future that is of highest service to all. We are acknowledging and recognizing that whatever is birthed through us, as us, is the is what will influence the collective. It is medicine for the collective, or it is poison for the collective. And as midwives to the future, to the new earth, to the return of the divine feminine, we are here to consciously bring that life into existence. So as we ask ourselves, what are we birthing in this new year, we can really drop into how pivotal and imperative this question is for us as women, and particularly for us as priestesses. Because we come to understand that that which we desire for ourselves is the medicine for the collective. It is the world we desire for the collective. It is what we desire for our children. It is what we desire for all beings, to be in that place of whether it's joy or it's empowerment or flow or connection or deep communion with heart. This is what we desire for the collective. So we can dedicate and devote our own birthing process at this time to the highest good for all beings, as we always do as a priestess. Never miss that part in our own prayers. That is part of our magic, right? We know that whatever we release out will come back to us 3 times. And when we offer up to the collective, to the highest benefit of all, we are seeding deep benefit for ourselves. We are seeding deep benefit for the future generations. And we are taking our own prayers and magnifying and amplifying them in the collective field. Let's not forget that midwives were always the most respected beings in civilizations, for good reason. They were the ones who were bringing in new life. And of course, we can never forget that it was in the witch trials, it was so clearly seen that midwives were specifically targeted. In the literature, specifically targeted. Very, very much the central locus point of oppression in the witch trials were those women who carried the womb mysteries, who carried the mysteries of sexuality, who were willing to relieve the discomfort of women or to empower them to decide whether or not they were going to bring a life into this world. So the midwife is a sacred archetype for all women, and particularly for the priestess. So how do we connect with this season? Rituals for this season really start with getting out and connecting with nature, as they always do, really noticing what are the first shoots of spring, noticing what is happening in your own body. Is there energy beginning to rise and lift? And even though calendar Imbolc is on February 1st, Groundhog Day, solar and lunar Imbolc happen at different times around that. And really, it's a season. We can just think about Imbolc is a season. So you have all of this season to model what your ancestors did, which is to make offerings to the land for abundance, for the harvest. Make offering also to the predators on the land, which we can do symbolically. Predators in our own lives being our old patterns or wounding that have the capacity to cut short our magic, cut short our vision, cut short our enactment and embodiment of that way of living and being that is of highest benefit to all. Also purifying the land with smudge or sage or song. So just walking outside and offering a song to the land. Often walking clockwise. Of course, let's remember, walking clockwise spins the spell. And the goddess of Imbolc is Brigid. Brigid is the Celtic goddess of Imbolc. She is the smith, she is the midwife, and she is the poet. So she is the triple goddess that lives in the 3 sacred cauldrons, the 3 Celtic cauldrons of our womb, heart, and third eye center. And she is arising at this time of year. This is a big part of her celebratory holiday because her counterpart, which is the Cailleach, which is the ancient wise crone of the Celtic realms, she is beginning to wither, and she reaches down into the earth. She feels the hand of Bridget. She pulls Bridget up, rebirthing the year. And as she rebirths Bridget and Bridget rises up with all of her fire, the Kaliak sinks down into the earth. She becomes the sacred compost of the wise woman. She becomes that sacrifice to life that is death in this never-ending cycle of death and life. That is Bridget and the Kaliak. That is the spring and the winter in harmony, in communion, in never-ending flow and cycling. So yeah, another powerful ritual at Imbolc is to do a limpia. This is from our priestess traditions in Latin America. I was introduced to this by a curandera from from Mexico. Simple egg cleansing, so you can purify with the sacred egg, this life, right? Honoring the egg that we'll again honor at Ostara, spring equinox, aka Easter. So you can actually do a cleansing of your entire body, allowing anything from last year that wants to release and shed to enter into the egg. Make sure to always honor your central channel, your chakras, always your breasts, your womb, your feminine third eye, getting all those sacred centers of woman. Powerful ritual at Imbolc. And really a time, as always is to really step into what is wanting to be birthed in the future. So it's not just for us and our people, although that's so important, and that is how the future happens, right? That is how it happens in 2,000 years, 10,000 years, that we live in an earth that is in harmony, is that we move in harmony. And yet always a powerful time to really think about what is this new paradigm that we are birthing? What is the new earth that the priestesses have come to redeem? So thank you for hearing these sacred practices and mystery teachings of the Imbolc portal. Blessings on your Imbolc. And I look forward to hearing any stirrings within you, your own seeds, the sprouts of your own seeds kind of pushing against the shell to grow you, anything inspired by this Imbolc portal. And to close, remember that the birth of the butterfly is she's pressing against her cocoon at this time, and she builds all of her strength through that pressing. So she builds all of her strength in the darkness. She builds all of her strength in the cocoon, so that once she bursts forth, she really just has to flap her wings a few times and she can take off. So that is what we're doing at this time. We are building our strength. The strength of woman always lies in returning back into relationship with the earth herself, Mama Gaia, who is the literal transmission of the divine feminine, who is the carrier and keeper of the codes of the divine feminine within all of us. So get thee out onto the land, bundle up in whatever ways you need to, and celebrate Imbolc by being with the land, being with your body. I didn't tell you, being with your womb. So that's important. If we're going to birth the future, we want to be with our womb. Of course, the practices of hula and the practices of belly dancing, these are designed to prepare for birth. These are designed to prepare not only for the feminine birth of a child, but for the feminine birth of creativity, of a business, of an organization, of artwork. You are always birthing, sacred mother. So get into your hips. Touch your hips. Touch your womb. Come into relationship with that womb. Come into relationship with your root. You are the birther, and you are the one you are birthing, and you are the midwife. Imbolc blessings. I look forward to hearing how this lands with you. So please let me know in comments, in our chat, wherever you are receiving this. Let us know what is alive for you this Imbolc, and what are you birthing.